Welcome to the Picks from the Yard podcast. I'm your host, Wayne Salvatore. Just a humble caddy trying to scratch out winners every week for you guys, along with my friends, family, even acquaintances are welcome as long as they provide winners. Now that they've gone and legalized gambling here in Jersey, we're going to provide you with the hot selections every week. From the Yard, NFL Week 6. We had a decent week last week. We're getting back on track. We have a returning champion guest. Nick Giello went 3-0. He's in rarefied air with one guy last year. Adam Way went 3-0. So we're glad we're bringing him back. We're hoping to turn the corner. We went 500 last week. No Clegg's Corner, which has been carrying us. They're on some type of international break, if I understand that correctly. So we're going to be relying on our NFL picks to make us some money this week. So away we go. Returning co-host, guest, Richard the Math Whisperer, Salvatore.
It's good to be here. I had a bad week. You had a bad week. We were carried by the Philly guys, basically.
Embarrassing.
We were carried by Nick and Jim Dodge, and they went 5-1, and we still only had a 500 week. But
never living it down.
Right, that's right.
These
But
Philly people.
I feel better. We got Willie back. We got Nick back. I feel good about this week.
Yes, returning Vivant, Willie, Bill Lesko. Thanks to jury, how many games? We're in a pool. You pick every game. How many games did you get wrong last week?
Just got 3 wrong on the
every
on the
other game right, and due to his civic duty, he couldn't be on the air. Or maybe when he's on the air, I don't understand. Are you hiding your winners from the public?
A lot of time to think in the jury box.
Cleaned up. Yeah, maybe you should go there every week on Tuesday and just like hang around the courtroom and figure the games out just to before you come on the air here.
If you want to feel better about yourself, hang out at the Jersey City Courthouse.
And as I was touting him before, we're having trouble squeezing him and his ego into the booth here. He wanted some Rocky music.
Rocky,
yeah.
maybe some Queen. We are the champion.
A full celebratory moment here. Nick Giello, bartender extraordinaire, 3-0.
Great to be back. I'm thinking about retiring before I make these picks, but it's just great to have to listen to Bubba call me a returning champion just a few times today. I've never heard anything like that come out of his mouth before.
Occasionally, I've been negative in describing my coworker. All right, as we've been touching on last week, 6-6, which sadly is progress for us. We're 25-35 overall. Terrible. I went 1-2 last week. That is 4-11 for the season. That's not even. I'm not even averaging one a week. I'm unsure what I'm doing here. Maybe we may have to have a coup here. Somebody else may have to carry the show forward. I'm not giving up. So let's. I won on Green Bay and then I lost on Jacksonville. And I don't know why I picked Cincinnati. I'm not sure what was going on last week. But anyway, that was a clear loser. Richard 0-3. He lost on Chicago. The Bears were overslept. They didn't really wake up till the second half. It was too late. Loser on Cleveland, who got absolutely embarrassed. And
Terrible.
Michigan State, actually, this final score, they were in it. They played pretty tough, but
They played tough early. Their defense looked good early, but the offense kept giving the ball back, and eventually the defense seemed to wear down, and that was probably the one that maybe should have won, but 0-3, and you feel terrible. I'm in all these pools, I'm making all these picks, but the podcast picks are the most important ones because it's one thing to lose money, but public humiliation is the worst. It's terrible. It's terrible.
I mean, you guys are celebrities around town, and people look to you guys for quality information.
You got to face some music. Nick, in the meantime, is going to be, prancing around behind the bar.
Insufferable.
Yes, exactly. Jim Dodge, 2-1. He had a winning week. He only likes to come back after a losing week, apparently. So he had a winning week. He's gone back into hiding. He won on the Patriots, the Saints, and Seattle. He arguably could have gone 3-0. Seattle lost by half. They won the game. They didn't cover by half a point. And if you watch that game, they should have covered it 22 different ways. I mean,
absolutely.
I was
missed
shocked.
They went for the 2-point conversion, but even before that, a bunch of things happened. Missed a field goal, I believe. It was
Thursday night antics. They had that game in hand. So good week for Dodgy, and I mean, we're gonna stop talking about it after this. But
Why?
Nick,
Why stop? Why stop?
3-0. Denver rolled.
Denver rolled.
Notre Dame laying 45.5.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
Nope, no
Was that
fear.
a shutout? I believe.
52 nothing.
I
Yes.
did not tune in.
Yes.
Not an issue. And then Pittsburgh managed to cover
Managed to cover.
with the third stringer in
Third
there.
string guy, yep,
And
absolutely.
they
Big
had a
cover
chance
there.
to win outright. That was
Yeah.
kind of like it wasn't really a sweat either. Those are three quality picks.
I mean, tremendous week for the Birds boys, though. 5-1. Didn't even go with the Eagles, which was that was just a gimme
do we
against the
have
Jets.
to talk about the Eagles.
I mean,
versus the Jets?
31-6 against the Jets. I mean, we should have been all over that, shouldn't we?
I don't think I've talked. Have we even talked about the Jets yet?
You stayed away from that.
Big Jets
Yeah.
fans
Definitely
on
has.
every week,
Yes.
and we can't even. It's not
Yes.
even nothing to discuss. Yeah, that was good. Good. I mean, I'm not going to argue this, but the Jets did have the backdoor cover was in play late, and then they coughed it up. It was like a bumbling. It was terrible. They were,
Yeah, that was a mess.
embarrassing, yeah.
That was
they had the ball and they were I mean, they were moving it a little. You're hoping prevent defense, and then things went south. The parlay was a loser. 0-5. Green Bay came through. Pittsburgh and Jacksonville. I'm not gonna. We lost. I'm gonna admit that. But both of those were right in it.
They were right in play, absolutely.
The end of the Jacksonville game was great with the 2 penalties.
Yeah, the Jacksonville game had
Minshew
multiple
magic.
chances to cover, and Pittsburgh went to overtime. I mean, Pittsburgh.
Yeah,
and I
Pittsburgh
think
was in overtime, yeah.
Yeah, and they had the ball with a chance. So
They kicked off though. They chose to
kicked
kick
off.
off.
They got the ball
rolled
back, They
and
had
then
a
threw
chance.
threw the pick.
They threw the
Yeah.
pick, and it was right there. I felt like we're getting there. We're gonna hit one. Just stay tuned.
I don't fear anything, anyone, anymore. I'm a freak. Don't dress like you.
All right, the big story from last week: Jay Gruden is finally out at Washington.
Finally.
It was a long time. If you watched the press conference last week, he literally said, "He goes, well, if my keys work, I'll be coming to work
Right.
tomorrow."
I like that
Everybody
line.
knew it was coming, yeah.
It was they're pitiful. I mean, pitiful.
Long overdue, I think. He I feel like they kept him too long. Never had much success. The couple times they got to the playoffs, he didn't, I don't think he won a single playoff game. And I just feel like that that team is a disaster. That owner is terrible.
But last year they were, until Smith got hurt, actually even until McCoy got hurt, they were going to be in the playoffs.
They were
Yeah,
okay.
Alex-
the,
he had Alex
yeah,
Smith
the Alex
last
Smith
year.
injury
Smith got
definitely
hurt, and then I
set
think
you back.
they played okay with McCoy, and then McCoy got hurt,
Yeah.
and then they just had nowhere to turn.
Yeah, I mean, I think going in this year, apparently he didn't want Haskins as the pick in the first round, and Snyder maybe came down and made that pick. So definitely something that was gonna not end well, and clearly not.
Yeah. But I do think he was only there. I don't think he lasted as long as he did because Snyder fired so many other coaches within a year or two that he was embarrassed to do it again.
Yeah, if you look at their history, a number of guys maybe there for a year or 2 years and basically he had Spurrier there, he had Schottenheimer there.
Even
He had a
Schottenheimer
bunch
only
of guys.
lasted 1 year.
And
so-
he had the best record, which was 500,
Yeah.
and that was early, and he fired him
Gibbs,
immediately.
Yeah, when
And they brought Gibbs back. Right.
Yeah, they brought Gibbs back.
The funny thing they were talking about is that on that staff, now they're looking for a new coach. And on that staff, at one time, they had Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Matt LaFleur.
Matt LaFleur. Yeah, it's unbelievable.
Three
You
guys
talk
who are
about
actually
it.
doing pretty good
Yeah,
right now.
Talent
Right.
walking right out the door there.
Funny, last week they got rolled, but I was like just barely getting into, I got all my action and I was drinking my coffee and I was like, they somehow took the lead against the Patriots 7-0. I was like, what the heck? And then they ended up getting killed, but it was.
That was scary.
I was
I never take New England. I can't stand it. But last week I took New England because it was just too obvious.
Yeah.
And then I would look
Yeah.
up and Washington's up 7-0.
But they didn't score the rest of the game. So Gruden is out.
He's out, and now there's something being floated that they're interested in getting Tomlin away from the Steelers.
Oh, yeah, they're
which-
saying that's.
and then they went to Tomlin needs to hear this at this point. He's struggling with the Steelers. He's been there forever, and they're asking him about whether he wants the Redskins. Who would want that job?
I don't know who.
I think that was started by some Pittsburgh fans.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they're a little bit of a mess there too. But yeah, why would you want to go to Washington at this point? You have to be desperate for a job.
It was actually, they showed a lot of footage. There was a ton of, if you saw a lot of Patriots fans at that game, it's becoming like, there was a beloved franchise down there, but the fans have had it. I mean, to the owners, it's terrible.
Yeah,
So.
I used to be like one of the longest. That was like one of those giant waiting lists, where they just
couldn't get
legendary. They
tickets.
couldn't get tickets forever, and now people are giving up their season tickets.
They love the Redskins down there. I spent an August in Washington D.C. many years ago, and you couldn't get a baseball score on the sports report. It was all Redskins training camp, Redskins. They were crazy about that team, and it's really a shame what's happened.
I mean, is it true that Rex Ryan wants the job there?
I think I saw something about that. I didn't really read. Rex Ryan will go anywhere.
I mean, I guess if you have a disaster, you might as well turn it into a comedy.
but he was a pretty good coach. He didn't. I mean,
I hear there's some nice toes in Washington.
Well, a good thing the baseball season's marching on because the local the football teams are not really providing any entertainment. The Yankees handily swept and are just sitting tight, and they might catch a little break here. Tampa Bay might clear the way out. We have I'm shocked. Houston could get bounced. And I hadn't realized as we were talking about it at the bar, but I guess the Yankees haven't gone a decade without making a World Series since the 20s.
Yeah.
Yeah, since the 20s.
It's amazing. But then when you think
That's
about
an amazing
it,
stat.
it's amazing. So the pressure's on here. I'm always torn. Like I said, I'm a big Mets fan, so I do pull for the local. I have nothing against the Yankees, but some of the fans are a little insufferable.
Yeah.
How they only show up in October sometimes, or
Well, that's fun because the Met fans are only around in the first week of the season when
That's
they're
true,
when they're
yeah.
7-1.
That is
before
true.
they fall apart.
But if
The other-
Houston gets bounced, I mean, they got to be the Yankees, even with their pitching, they would be the favorite, I guess. I don't know. Well, let's see what happens in the National League too. The Dodgers might get bounced too.
Yeah.
We have 3 Game 5s.
That's
you
true,
can't
3 Game
ask
5s is
for
unbelievable.
anything better
Yeah,
the
two of
next
them.
couple days. The baseball has been fantastic.
It'll be fun, yeah.
Yeah.
Except for the Yankees. You knew the Yankees won 14 straight playoff games against the Twins.
Wow.
And the Twins have lost 16 straight overall or something like that.
That is
Yeah, the
brutal.
Twins
That's
are
almost
brutal.
impossible to do.
I jumped on that, and
Those
it wasn't
fans.
the money. It wasn't that bad. The series, it was like I think it was minus 250. I thought it would be higher than that, but they own the Twins, and I think if they can get Tampa Bay, they're going to be in good shape. I mean, the thing is, if Houston can win Game 5, I could see betting Houston in the series because I think people say, "Oh, the Yankees are rested," but sometimes those rested teams, it's not necessarily an advantage.
True, but also now Houston doesn't have their pitching set up the way they'd want.
Yeah, the pitching is going to be all screwed up, and especially they're going to have all hands on it. If they get in a jam tomorrow, I think everybody's going to be the pitching staff's going to be a little screwy. For the
I
first
agree with
couple
that,
games.
but I think that'll whatever people look at that, and I feel maybe overreact to that.
They might get a good price. You might
That's
get a
the
good
thing.
price.
I think you might get a decent price, but I think if Tampa somehow wins, the Yankees are in really good shape. I could see them betting them to win the World Series because if they can get into the World Series, I just feel like the AL is much better.
For the good of the city and the area, since the football teams think we will be pulling for the Yankees, I suppose to at least make the World Series. But then the gloves are off. I can't have them win the World Series.
I'll take you to the parade.
Oh, okay, Graham, you buy me a pretzel.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Will, good. We'll see. We'll see what happens the next couple days. Though, tune into baseball. You're not going to be disappointed. It's going to be amazing. And away we go. I'm gonna stick. I'm gonna stick with my confidence here. Even though it's been a slippery year. Somebody actually asked me because we did great last year. It was a discussion. What the heck's going on? Did we change? But it was pointed out we didn't pick. We started week 6. Is that correct? We
I
literally
think that's right. Yeah.
missed
So
the first.
maybe that means we're
this is
not so good
preseason
early in the
now,
year.
you know?
Yeah.
It's
Now we're hopefully we figured it out at this point. We got to 500.
We're gonna call this a
Onward and upward.
final excuse alert. After this,
We're closers.
Yeah.
I have nothing left.
Also, if you want, you guys can download my tutorial on betting on
jeez.
perfectpicks.com.
Oh my God.
His 1-year-old at home pointing to the
Pointing to it, absolutely. Dada, green.
Right. Yeah. How to pick 45-point favorites.
He loves lions and bears.
I'm gonna stick with a college game this week. It's a great matchup. You have Florida going into Death Valley. They're playing at LSU. It's a 7 versus a 5. There's a lot of points. Florida's getting 13.5, and if you've been following it, LSU, I mean, historically, they're not a big offensive team. They've been putting up a ton of points every week, but they haven't faced a defense. Florida, I lost money last week. That's why I'm getting on Florida, because I took Auburn last week. They had a huge win against Auburn last week, and you got to take them seriously. And they're getting 13.5. You're getting
That is a lot of points for a solid team. Like
number
Florida.
17
Yeah.
with a great, and you have a great defense. Anytime I can get those double-digit points with a team with a great
is-
defense, I got to jump at it. And a quick stat I heard, I'm not usually, I happen to overhear this because you know how much research I do, but they're saying LSU's averaging 55 points a game. Florida has given up a total of 57 points the entire season so far. So
Yeah, LSU's offense is a little bit of a paper champion so far at this point in the year. They haven't played that many great defenses, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare against Florida's.
I like all the points. I feel like this game's going to be a little bit
That's
closer
really
than.
sad.
They're good
5
as a
versus
dog.
7, 13 points is a lot.
I like the dog here.
Give me Florida plus 13.5.
Okay, I'm sticking with my college picks. I'm going to go to the Sun Belt Conference
Sun
for
Belt?
a Thursday night contest.
What?
I'm going to take Texas State. All right, I got something here about Texas State. They have this young coach. His name's Jake
How do they recruit
Spavital.
guys with all those big schools in Texas? What do
The
they
thing
get?
is, they're and
They
I
were
think-
fantastic
I
when they
read-
had Sinbad there.
Right, Nick, explain what you're talking about.
For those of you under the age of, say, 40, there was a movie called Unnecessary Roughness where it was Texas State, and the guy from Quantum Leap, again, if you're young, you probably don't know that, Google it, and Sinbad was like the middle linebacker or something like that, or an offensive lineman. It's fantastic.
Will he be giving an inspirational speech before the game this week?
This was not part of my research. I just was informed of this 5 minutes to airtime, so I couldn't look into this. But I think what Nick is saying is true. Irregardless, they have a young coach who was an assistant at a bunch of big programs at Oklahoma State and Texas A&M and West Virginia, and he's up and coming coach, and it's his first year there. They started out with a couple of losses, but now it seems like he's got the team going in the right direction, and they're a Thursday night home dog. Getting 3.5
love
points.
that angle.
And they're playing University of Louisiana at Monroe, and it's a 9 o'clock game. So here's what you do on Thursday night.
Is it on the Ocho?
It's on ESPNU. You can find this ESPNU. But here's the thing: you watch the Thursday night NFL game, and when the Patriots go up, say like 24-0, you go over to ESPNU and you have a nice home dog going. So
Yes.
I say take Texas State and the points.
Robert Loggia is the assistant coach on the team, too. I love it. Again, Google that. All right, so as I always say, never bet with your heart, never be a homer. But for the second straight week, I gotta pick one of my teams because it's just too good. I got the Birds getting 3 in Minnesota.
Oh boy.
I really feel like the Birds are starting to hit their stride. Offensive line's playing well. Jordan Howard is running very well. And honestly, I'm not really sold on the Vikings. I know they whooped up on the Giants this week.
You're
but,
sitting next to a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
but they've struggled a little bit.
No, Kirk Cousins. I saw this line actually do I hate to say these words on a public.
You're a Vikings fan?
I love
Are you?
Philadelphia this week. I agree with this pick just because of Kirk Cousins. I mean, Willie, you got to right.
I know, but he's going to play well sometime. They have beat, they have.
I thought it was
beaten teams
last week he
before.
played well.
Well, yeah, he did. That wasn't that much of a struggle.
No,
though.
that wasn't a struggle. No.
Yeah, Minnesota is too Jekyll and Hyde for me. So when I saw that Philly's getting 3, I kind of
It seemed like a little much for me, but I think the Vikings at home are still always going to be tough.
They are. I mean, they could even win 21-20,
squeak one out.
Squeak
Philly
one out,
covers.
yeah.
That's the best case for all of us, right?
Yeah.
Philly
Well,
loses,
well,
Philly
not win.
covers.
Give me the win.
Not really. Not for a Philly fan, but I'll take it on the podcast.
I'm going to go with a bad team for my first pick.
I like it.
I think Atlanta's finally fallen far enough out of favor that they're only giving 3 points to the Cardinals.
Amazing. The Atlanta Falcons laying 3.
Yeah, and they've
against
been
that.
just a real disappointment. I really thought they were going to have a decent year this year, and they've just been.
I mean, the coach has to be in the hot seat, right? They are like,
He's fired
Whole
everybody.
thing.
He got rid of all the assistants.
there's nobody left to blame but the guy
Yeah,
in
right.
the mirror. Yeah.
You're looking in the mirror, and the owner's already saying he's disappointed, which is not exactly a vote of confidence.
I mean, it's like it's a good time to play to go into Arizona at least. I mean, you have to win this game with their talent.
have to
I don't
win this
understand
game.
what's. I mean, unless Matt Ryan, I haven't watched too detailed. I don't
Ryan
know.
hasn't played very well, but you still have Julio Jones, and that they should be able to score against the Cardinals. Of course, the problem is the Cardinals are going to be able to score against the Falcons because their defense hasn't been too hot either. But
No, it's a
I just
must-win.
make 3. I just think this probably should be an easy win for Atlanta, even though I don't think I was going to ever say that again.
I think, too, Arizona off a win, but off a terrible team. I like that angle. You have 2 bad teams playing each other, and usually the next week, the team that won, you can look to fade them because they're off a win, but they just
Arizona's
beat
coming off a
terrible.
win.
That's right. Yeah.
And Atlanta got smoked last week, too.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
They did,
They got
yeah.
smoked.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a great week for New York sports as the Giants have to play the Patriots and the Jets have to play the Cowboys. And I haven't talked about the Jets much. They're pitiful. They're terrible. And Darnold's coming back. Mr. Mono is returning, but I just feel like Dallas is in a must-win, and he's not going to be up to speed. I would think Darnold, and the Jets D is. They're missing a key, a key linebacker and a Mosley, and I just feel like Dallas has to win it. They've lost 2 in a row, and you got it's sort of like a cupcake game on the schedule, and it'll probably be like a home game. Honestly, the Jets fans are disgusted, and Dallas fans will pay whatever to go see them. And you're only laying 7. I hate. I'm not gonna watch and root against my Jets, obviously, but they are not ready to turn it around this week. I'll tell you that much. Give me the Cowboys.
Yeah, Darnold just hasn't really been practicing that much, so it's I think it's going to be a little tough.
Yeah, he's got to be rusty.
Gotta be rusty and a little.
This is a perfect game for Dallas. I mean, they beat up on teams like this.
Well, that's what they did. I mean, it started off with a couple of wins against weak teams, and it's just like set up for them. It's teed up, and unfortunately,
actually, I think they beat North Texas State early in the year, if I'm not mistaken.
It's Texas State.
I'm sorry, North Texas. That's Texas State.
That's
Sorry.
North Dallas 40.
God darn it, my Sunbelt information is just off.
The Giants are on Thursday, so all the Giants fans get to watch them play the Patriots Thursday, and then you'll be forced to tune in to watch their Cowboys.
Is there an aggregate spread we can bet?
Oh God, it's a bad week for New York football.
For my second pick, I'm going to take the Houston Texans. They're playing Kansas City in Kansas City. They're getting 4.5 points. I think when you look at how Andy Reid is as a coach, oftentimes he'll start a season well and roll off a bunch of wins, and he'll usually struggle a little bit in the middle of the season. They lost last week. They actually struggled even the week before that. And I mean, Houston won big last week, and that bothers me a little bit because I feel like people are going to be on Houston as an overreaction. But I think even before that, they've been good. They've been good on the road. They're 2-0 against the spread on the road. They should have beaten New Orleans in week 1, and they won their other road game outright as a dog. So I think they're a good road team, and I say take Houston in the 4.5 points.
I like Houston, and especially if Mahomes is a little hobbled there against Houston's defensive line. I think I think you have a shot of Houston winning outright.
Yeah, Houston's gonna be licking their chops with Mahomes if he's a little, his ankle got hit twice. It was unbelievable. And Andy Reid refused to play. I'm a little angry. I had Kansas City in a massive knockout pool. I could not believe what was going on, and he just refused to take him out of the game. He couldn't do anything.
I think the weirdest thing.
Do they have a backup?
Who is their backup?
I don't even know, but
he's not good with injuries.
No,
he doesn't really adjust to his
personnel. He was limping
right.
around Mahomes.
Did you just say Andy Reid doesn't really adjust?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. Holy cow. Get out of the play chart, Andy, all right? Clock management. We say that in our sleep in Philly. All right, for my second pick, maybe not the most popular one, but I'm going to take the LA Rams minus 3.5 against San Francisco. San Francisco did look great on Monday night, but kind of maybe a little Monday night hangover, short week for San Francisco. Rams have to be desperate coming off 2 straight losses. It's a home game for them, so I look for the Rams to come out. I mean, otherwise, you're looking at San Francisco being 5-0 and the division kind of slipping away from you.
And the Rams have extra time to. Right? Did the Rams play the Thursday night last week?
And they played the Thursday night
time. And this is definitely. I love this pick because this is a classic overreaction where everybody is going to jump on San
Francisco.
They played that standalone Monday. Everybody's watching them just destroy Cleveland,
which was fun to watch. Actually,
that was great. That was great.
Watching the Odell.
Put Odell back to run back kicks for a little momentum and watch him drop the ball.
Before the season started, I bet like an anti-Odell, I bet Saquon Barkley to have more touchdowns than Odell Beckham, and I thought he was dead when Barkley got hurt. Except they're tied for one touchdown.
Oh yeah.
Amazing. Barkley's not playing, and he's still. Your bet is quite live.
Yeah.
Odell's due for beating up a kicking net pretty soon. Yeah.
For my second bet, I'm going to take a good team. I'm going to take New Orleans getting points. It's funny because when I looked at this game at first, I considered Jacksonville sort of an underrated team, and then they're favored against New Orleans.
It seemed a little. This line scares me a little bit.
Yeah, it's a fishy. I said this last week about the New Orleans line. It was fishy, and they covered. So what do I know? But it is a fishy line. Something smells funny about this line.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know where it's coming from. I may be missing something. Maybe Bridgewater's a little banged up, but I really like this pick a lot. I like New Orleans. I think they're like one of the top 5 teams, really.
Get New Orleans with the points. I mean, you can't,
Yeah, I like this.
It's just a little, little dicey. But
Even-
like I said last week was the same thing.
Yeah,
Even
right.
with
It was.
Minshew
It
madness
was.
on the other side.
No, I love Minshew madness. I don't want to take
don't
anything
want it
away
to
from that.
end,
I
yeah.
love Minshew madness.
Yeah, but I like this pick.
All right, I'm going to take the Monday night game. I don't like to do this generally, and I also don't like to pick against Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers. But I like Detroit getting 4 here. I feel like Green Bay's another team that everybody's going to be jumping on now. They seem like they're getting rolling. Their offense is rolling, but Detroit has been sort of like for years they killed me, and I hated them. I bet against them a lot last year. I just was good because they seemed to be just always slightly above mediocre. But I feel like this season they turned the corner a little bit. Stafford's playing well, and I just I like them getting 4 on Monday night. This is a big game for them.
Yeah, I like that too. I mean, Detroit had a little negative feeling from when they choked against Arizona in the first week for the tie.
Yeah.
But they've been playing. They play pretty tough defense, and Stafford I think is an underrated quarterback. He makes his mistakes, but they all do. But he also has a lot of fourth quarter comebacks in his career.
They're playing better. They seem like a different team this year so far, but this will be a big test.
They've beaten Green Bay 4 times in a row, by the way. It was brought to my attention, which I say they have their number, but one might say...
That might get me a little nervous.
A little bit.
But it does seem like Patricia's starting to establish some continuity there and a semblance of a program and all. So, I mean, and they went into Philadelphia and beat the Birds, so they got my respect. So
Maybe he'll be the first Belichick assistant to be successful.
to actually do well.
Right?
Yeah, it's
We'll
a
see.
possibility.
All right, for my third pick, I'm going to the Sunday night game. I'm taking the Pittsburgh Steelers as a big dog. They're getting
Whoa.
7 points. I
Who
know
is their
they're on their
quarterback?
third-string quarterback. I had
Terry Bradshaw.
That's right. I had Nick did some research for me. What was it? Devlin Hodges? Is that-
Devlin Hodges.
Devlin Hodges.
Who I thought went to Stanford, but it was Samford.
It was Samford.
Clearly, I didn't go to Stanford.
Where is
that
Samford?
Samford and Son? Is that
Sanford
what
and
that-
Son,
what is that?
yeah.
They're one of those teams that make the NCAA basketball playoffs every 5 years.
Yeah, they do
Right.
actually make it. Yeah, I would say South Carolina or something like that. It's down there.
Samford University.
Sanford University, but I see Pittsburgh as one of these teams that rallies when when the quarterback gets knocked out. And I think when he came in last week, he did all right. He looked all right. And I have not been impressed with the Chargers so far
No
this year.
way.
They don't look the same.
No.
And they're classically not a good team as a
No.
big favorite anyway. And Pittsburgh's in desperation mode. And that
They are
story
desperate.
about Tomlin and going to Washington, I think Tomlin wants no part of that. And I think the team, if anything,
Yeah.
wants to play and show, no, we want to keep our coach because I think they like him. And I see them coming up big in a big Sunday night game.
Yeah, the quarterback actually he did look. He looked okay last week. He steadied him. He got him in the OT.
They hung in there.
They
had a
hung in
chance to
there.
win a
They
game.
did.
You know,
That's right.
And Sanford is in Alabama. Just so
Oh, wow.
I don't want to get any emails from my fans in Alabama all about it.
All the Sanford alum who are listening to this podcast are
They
going to
would
write
go
to us
nuts.
now. They're going to go
they
nuts.
will go nuts. All right, for my third pick, get ready, Giants fans.
Oof.
Hate to burst your bubble, even though it might have been burst a little bit last week. It's a Thursday night game. Getting 16.5 from New England, and I like New England.
It's not enough. The
Yeah.
points for the Giants.
I just think Belichick's going to torture young Danny Dimes, as he's known.
I think they should start Eli just because he has a psychological lock over the Patriots, just to mess with him. I mean,
Well,
maybe send him out there for the first
They
series.
should, and you know what? Justin Tuck was making the rounds this week on air. I think they're going to bring him back to play some D line, try to get up inside Brady's head, because that's
Bring
the
that
only
guy-
chance I think they
That guy,
have.
that helmet catch was the last catch he had in the NFL.
David Tyree.
Yeah, bring him
Bring
back.
him back.
Bring him all out, getting Brady's head a little bit.
I love New England here. It's a Thursday night. I do think Danny Dimes will be all right, but this is not a
the
good
Giants
matchup
may
for
not
him.
score, quite
Yeah.
honestly. The
The Patriots D looks really
Patriots
good.
do look good. Yeah.
For my final pick, I'm going to take Tennessee. I think they're another inconsistent team, but I think they're pretty decent, and they last week they played Buffalo, didn't really score. They had 7 points, but they missed 4 field goals, so they had to cut that kicker because that seems to be the theme of the season.
It's unbelievable. People can't kick the ball. How many millions?
No one
how
can
many
kick.
millions of kids in the whole world kick ball? I mean, it's like
Someone finds somebody, and the funny
every
thing.
kid grows up kicking balls. Why can't any of them kick field goals?
So they signed the double doinker. They signed Parkey. Yeah, they signed
come on.
Parkey from
Cody
the Bear.
Parkey?
Cody Parkey.
Did they really?
Yeah. So Cody Parkey, your double doinker's coming back.
And you
Love
still,
him.
You still think they got it? Well,
Love him.
Mariota makes me very nervous. Denver, I know they were desperate last week, but I guess they only have one win under their belts. So.
Yeah. I think Denver's played better than their record, but I like that Tennessee's just a better team.
I like this pick, and I like Tennessee. They've been a little inconsistent, but when they show up, they've shown they can be a good team. And I think getting a couple of points, on the road, that first week 1 game against Cleveland was on the road. I think they have a couple of good road games this year, so I like them as a road dog.
All right, the money line underdog parlay at 0-5. We just got to hit one. I'm not worried. I feel pretty good about this one. We're going to take the. We have 2 great teams as underdogs this week, so I like our chances. We're going to take Nick's pick of the Eagles. Willie took the Saints, and I'm going to throw in Detroit on Monday night to upset the Green Bay Packers, and it pays a juicy 13-1. So hopefully the first 2 will come in, and you have a reason to. This game Monday night should be a great game. We'll have a rooting interest. Get involved.
I found someone who wants me, despite what you say.
As we mentioned earlier, Clegg's Corner international break for soccer. It's on hiatus. I think he's out. I think he's out enjoying all his winnings from this season so far. I'm sure he'll be back next week with some games for us. A quick recap of our picks. I am going with the University of Florida on Saturday plus 13.5, Detroit Monday night plus 4.5, and Dallas to beat up my hapless Jets -7. Richard's taking Houston plus 4.5, Texas State Thursday night plus 3.5, and the Steelers plus 7. Nick's going with his Eagles plus 3, the Rams -3.5, and the Patriots also Thursday night to bury the poor Giants -16.5. Willie's taking Atlanta -3, the Saints plus 1.5, and Tennessee plus 2. We plugged all 12 teams into the DraftKings app for our 12-team super parlay, which we do every week, and that pays a nice 2,466 to 1. It will be the only way for us to get back over 500 for the year, so I think it's coming in. I think this is the week.
Throw a
It's gotta come
tanner.
in.
We will win this, and we'll
Preseason's over.
be back in the black and get our winning ways back in form. We are overdue. Anything we want to plug this week, guys?
I'm going to plug Fiore's has an Instagram page now.
Whoa.
And I think I've plugged Fiore's on this show 2 or 3 times. I'm going to keep plugging them until they agree to, do craft services for us or throw some
What
sandwiches.
you're
or something.
doing
with
is
that.
creating more longer lines at our favorite one
That's
of our
probably true.
favorite
That's a fair
eateries.
point. Yeah,
I'm just shocked they have an Instagram page. I mean, that, what
It's
are they going to
amazing.
do? Like, get a computer system now for the register?
If you go
God
in there,
forbid.
you feel like you travel back to the 50s. I don't understand
Absolutely.
what young upstart there started an Instagram
Who's doing
page,
that?
but it's just going to create less. They always run out of the specials too. I got to tell you, I'm not happy about this.
Too many. I feel like someone there is taking pictures with their landline phone, and trying to upload it.
And New Jersey food is getting a big. 2 of the pizza places in Jersey City got a lot of heat this week for being some of the best in the country. Raza and Bread and Salt. Bread and Salt actually had a write up in the Times. It's in mine in Nick's neighborhood. It's
It's up in the Heights. Yeah.
it's great. We do talk about food a lot on this show. I guess food
What goes
is-
better with? I mean, when you win, you want to eat and drink. When you lose, you want to eat and drink.
that's right. Right, that goes good with football and with gambling.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of great places around. We're right in the heart of great pizza, great sandwiches, great
Fantastic.
delis.
Yes. Raza is supposed to be fantastic. I know because my wife tells me. I don't get out much, but she tells me.
I'm going to plug college football is heating up. We got four top 25 matchups this weekend. Just tune in. You're going to love it. We picked a couple of games, but if you tune into any of these big matchups, these big schools, you're not. It's awesome, especially it flows better than the NFL now. It's really exciting, the school pride, and just the rules are a little better for offense, so the games always seem, you feel like you're never out of the game, and definitely you should try to check some of that out Saturday, and baseball, getting good. It's amazing. Some of these regular season games seem a little bit slow, but then these playoff games, you're just on every pitch. You just it's awesome.
They never seem to disappoint. I feel like there's always like good, exciting postseason baseball, and this is now a great time of year because now you have hockey going, basketball in
This
a
is the
couple of
best
weeks.
time of year.
It's getting
It's
into where all the
amazing.
sports will be up and
Rangers
going.
2-0
Yes.
That's right.
undefeated.
Yeah.
Always have a chance to get your money back.
That's true.
Exactly.
You do. Always
That's right.
something to bet on, right? I just like to plug my appearance on Fox pregame show this week for being a returning champion to the podcast.
If he goes 6-0,
Oh my God.
2 weeks.
Unbearable.
God.
He will be unbearable.
It'll be-
There's,
man.
they will lock the doors of the Monroe Center to keep me out next week.
It will not be
He's already
allowed.
requesting a limo next week.
I want to thank our guests, the very humble, good friend of ours, Nick Giello. Thanks for coming back.
It just shows you got to get involved because the sun can shine on any dog's rear end 1 week.
Gave us a nice boost last week, buddy. Thank you. We're
Right,
certainly
that's
not
right.
doing it. Bill Lesko, thanks for coming back after winning. One could say this could be a return to the mean. I'm a little nervous this week.
I'm a little nervous
You got
too.
3 wrong last week. But hopefully
Hopefully, just if even I get 3 right, it'll be the 3 I picked here.
we'll keep that rolling. And my brother Richard Salvatore, not much for us to say here. We gotta.
I know. We got to pick it up. We got to pick it. We're getting carried by these guys. We got to do our part. And hopefully this will be the week we start doing that.
If you liked what you heard, please subscribe. We're on Apple, Android, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also subscribe at our website, picksfromtheyard.com. Visit the website for all of our archived and bonus episodes and more content. For comments, criticisms, and challenges to Wayne, email us at pftypod@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're at PFTYPod on social media. Remember, gambling on sports is entertainment. Please don't overdo it. If you or someone you know is in over their head, call 800-GAMBLER for help. The Picks from the Yard podcast is produced by Van Vors Films in Hoboken, New Jersey. Our music is Anticipation by the Gefkins. Check them out on Spotify. We'll be back next week. Get involved.